Belly fat is one of the most misunderstood problems today. Millions of people have been given completely wrong advice about it. The standard message has stayed the same for many years. Work harder, run farther, and burn as many calories. Yet millions follow that advice and still see little change. You may have lived this frustrating experience yourself before. You start exercising more and spend longer on treadmills. You push through exhausting workouts week after painful week. The scale might move slightly at first, then stop, but that stubborn belly fat seems to follow its own rules. That is actually true, and here is the reason why. Most people do not realize belly fat is actively protected. The body's own biology works hard to keep it there. This sounds strange, but consider why that might be. Two people burning equal calories often get very different results. Some lose belly fat from daily walks and light movement. Others do intense cardio for months and barely see progress. Belly fat also becomes far more stubborn after age 40. The answer has less to do with effort than expected. Visceral fat, the kind around organs, responds to hormones. It also responds to blood sugar levels throughout the day. Stress signals, sleep quality, and metabolic health all matter greatly. Your body is not asking just one simple question here. It's asking several questions at once, all the time. Today, we explore 5 walking upgrades that work with biology. These upgrades work with your systems rather than against them. One helps muscles pull sugar from blood before fat forms. Another may reduce the stress signals that build abdominal fat. One takes advantage of a metabolic window most people miss. None of these upgrades require running or extreme physical workouts. A smarter walk can actually outperform a much harder workout. If belly fat were simply a calorie problem, solutions exist. Exercise more, burn more, and the fat would disappear easily. But millions still struggle with stubborn waistlines after years of effort. Belly fat does not only respond to how much you burn, it also responds to the internal environment inside your body. Your body is always deciding between 2 important biological jobs. Those 2 jobs are storing energy and releasing stored energy. When conditions inside are favorable, the body releases stored fat. Stable blood sugar and healthy insulin both count as favorable. Manageable stress levels also create a fat-releasing environment inside. When conditions are poor, the body holds tightly to reserves. It especially protects fat stored around the abdominal region. That is why 2 people on similar diets differ. Their biological signals throughout each day are simply not matching. Some of the most powerful signals never come from gyms. They come from consistent and simple habits done every single day. Walking has become one of the most studied forms of movement. It's easy on joints and easy to recover from. When used strategically, walking influences blood sugar and fat metabolism. But most people focus only on how long they walk. What often matters far more is simply when you walk. There is a specific time when a short walk shines. That time is immediately after finishing any meal you eat. After eating, especially carbohydrates, your blood sugar begins to rise. Your body releases insulin to move that sugar into cells. Normally, this system works beautifully without any extra help needed. But in many adults, the process becomes less efficient over time. Those carrying extra belly fat often see this problem clearly. The body needs more insulin to handle the same food. Blood sugar tends to stay elevated much longer than ideal. This matters because insulin does not only regulate blood sugar. Insulin also plays a direct and powerful role in fat storage. The longer insulin stays elevated, the harder fat loss becomes. The body simply becomes less willing to tap into fat. Here is exactly where walking after meals changes everything dramatically. When leg muscles contract during a walk, something important happens.
Those muscles begin pulling glucose from the bloodstream into tissue. Think of muscles as a giant sponge soaking up sugar. They absorb excess sugar before it circulates for too long. This process begins almost immediately once you start walking outdoors. You do not need an intense workout for this effect. You do not need to sweat or walk very far. A simple 10 to 15-minute walk after eating helps. It may significantly reduce the size of your blood sugar spike. Over time, this means less insulin exposure throughout your body. Better blood sugar control creates a favorable environment for fat loss. This is why post-meal movement is considered highly underrated. Instead of burning off yesterday's calories, you handled today's energy better. That is a fundamentally smarter and more efficient metabolic strategy. Timing is only the first of 5 important walking upgrades. Once walking begins, another factor determines if fat burning continues. Surprisingly, it comes down to something you do every second. That something is your breathing, which most walkers completely ignore. Now that timing is optimized, consider how you are walking. One of the biggest mistakes people make is walking too fast. Most assume faster is always better during any kind of exercise, but there is a point where faster stops being helpful. Beyond that point, the fuel your body prefers actually shifts. Your body has 2 main fuel tanks available for energy. Those tanks are glucose and stored body fat, respectively. Fat is an incredible energy source with one important catch. It burns slowly and requires a plentiful supply of oxygen. This is why the best fat-burning zone is moderate. It is a pace where oxygen stays abundant and available. At that pace, your body has time to access fat. So how do you know if you are in that zone? There is a surprisingly simple test you can use immediately. Keep your mouth closed while walking and breathe through your nose. If nasal breathing feels comfortable, your pace encourages fat burning. If you need to gasp through your mouth, you are too fast. Your intensity has pushed your body toward burning glucose instead. Think of nasal breathing as a built-in personal speed limiter. It prevents you from turning your walk into stressful cardio. There is also another meaningful benefit to breathing through your nose. Nasal breathing encourages slower and deeper breathing patterns naturally. Slower, deeper breathing helps calm the nervous system considerably over time. Chronic stress and elevated cortisol are closely tied to belly fat, so nose breathing may actually be supporting 2 separate goals simultaneously. It keeps intensity fat-friendly, and it reduces unnecessary stress signals. The goal is never to walk harder during these strategic sessions. The goal is staying in the zone where fat is used. Once that is mastered, a simple addition can improve each walk. You can make every walk more demanding without running or jumping. The third upgrade is surprisingly simple and very accessible to everyone. Carry a little extra weight during your next walking session. Not enough to turn your walk into any kind of training, just enough weight to make your body work slightly harder. This technique is called rucking, and it is incredibly effective. It simply means walking while carrying a light backpack with you. The human body adapts quickly to any repeated physical challenge. If you have walked the same route for months, adaptation happened. Your body became more efficient at completing that familiar challenge. That is good for survival, but not always ideal for fat loss. Over time, the same walk requires noticeably less energy from you.
Adding a small amount of weight changes the equation entirely. Suddenly, your legs, glutes, core, and back all contribute more. Your body recruits additional muscle fibers to handle the added load. Energy demand increases, and your metabolism must work harder per step. The key word in all of this is the word little. You do not need a heavy or uncomfortable pack at all. For most people, 5 to 10 pounds is more than enough. Even a few water bottles stuffed into a backpack will work. This small addition creates a noticeable and meaningful metabolic difference.
This is not just about burning a few additional calories either. Muscle is one of the largest consumers of glucose in bodies. More muscle tissue involved in movement means better glucose handling follows. Insulin sensitivity improves over time with consistent weighted walking sessions. You're not simply making the walk harder with extra weight. You're making the walk far more metabolically valuable every time. Unlike running or high-impact cardio, weighted walking stays joint-friendly. That matters, especially for people over 40, 50, or carrying extra weight. Think of this upgrade as increasing the return on every step. You do not need more time in your day for this. You simply need a little extra challenge added to existing movement. But this is still not the most overlooked of all upgrades. There is one factor most people completely ignore during their walks. It may directly influence the stress signals associated with belly fat. Surprisingly, this factor has nothing to do with your legs. It has everything to do with how you use your eyes. At first, this upgrade sounds strange and hard to believe. What could your eyes possibly have to do with belly fat? More than most people would ever think to consider or guess. Chronic stress makes fat loss significantly more difficult over extended periods. When stress stays elevated long-term, the body holds energy reserves. It especially protects fat stored deep in the abdominal region. Most people assume stress only comes from obvious external life sources. Work pressure, financial worry, and family problems are common examples. But your nervous system gathers information from all around you constantly. One of its largest information sources is actually your vision. Think about how you use your eyes on any typical day. You stare at phone screens, monitors, and televisions very often. Your focus becomes narrow, concentrated, and locked on nearby objects. This kind of visual attention keeps the brain alert and engaged. Compare that to what happens when you walk outdoors freely. Your eyes naturally look out farther into the open distance. You notice trees, buildings, clouds, and movement in peripheral vision. Instead of locking on one object, your full visual field expands. The brain interprets wide-open awareness very differently than narrow focus. A broader visual field is associated with safety and calm feelings. A narrow field of focus signals alertness, problem-solving, or threat response. That is why many people feel genuinely refreshed after outdoor walks, even when the walk was not particularly demanding or physically challenging. Their nervous system finally received a clear signal to slow down. So here is the fourth upgrade put into very simple terms. When you walk, put your phone completely away from your hands. Look up and let your eyes scan the environment around you. Pay attention to the horizon and the space far ahead. You are not only exercising your body during this kind of walk, you're giving your nervous system a powerful signal of safety. That signal says everything around you is okay and calm. Over time, fewer stress signals mean a healthier metabolic environment overall. That environment makes it easier for your body to release fat. One final upgrade ties all of these strategies together beautifully. It takes advantage of a unique biological window that exists daily. Walk shortly after waking up each morning as your first habit. Not because mornings are magical or special in some mystical way, but because your biology is genuinely different right after waking up. Think carefully about what happens to your body during sleep. For 7 or 8 hours, you are not eating any food. During that time, insulin gradually falls to low baseline levels. Your body spends the entire night using stored energy for maintenance. When you wake up, you are often in your lowest insulin state. That is one of the lowest insulin moments of your entire day. Lower insulin generally makes it easier for the body to burn fat. That is why a morning walk may encourage greater fat utilization. It takes advantage of a window that later walks simply cannot. After meals and snacks, insulin rises higher and stays elevated longer. The morning walk window is uniquely powerful precisely because of timing. There is another meaningful benefit that has nothing to do with calories. Morning natural light entering your eyes helps set your circadian rhythm. That internal clock regulates sleep, energy levels, hormones, and metabolism daily. This matters enormously because poor sleep and belly fat are connected. Studies consistently show poor sleepers experience worse blood sugar control. They also experience more cravings and greater difficulty managing body weight. Today's morning walk can genuinely influence the quality of tonight's sleep. Tonight's sleep then directly influences tomorrow's metabolism and energy all day. That is what makes this particular habit so consistently powerful over time. The benefits do not end when the morning walk itself ends. They continue working quietly in the background throughout the entire day. Combining this morning walk with the other 4 upgrades creates something powerful. You are no longer relying on a single workout to solve everything. You are creating multiple biological signals, all pointing in the same direction. Better blood sugar control begins supporting better insulin sensitivity consistently. Lower stress levels begin supporting a healthier metabolic environment daily. More movement and better sleep begin compounding their effects over months. Over time, those small signals add up to very significant results. Belly fat is not always a sign you are not trying hard enough. Sometimes it is a sign your body is receiving wrong biological signals. For years, people were taught fat loss is purely a willpower battle. Exercise harder, eat less, and push through every moment of discomfort. But your body does not operate like any simple machine at all. It is constantly and carefully responding to information all around it. Information from blood sugar levels, stress signals, sleep quality, and movement. That is why a simple walk can be genuinely powerful when strategic. A short walk after eating targets blood sugar and insulin directly. A slower nasal breathing pace keeps your body burning fat efficiently. A little extra resistance in a backpack increases metabolic value instantly. A few minutes looking up at the horizon reduces chronic stress naturally. A morning walk works perfectly with your body's own natural rhythms. Individually, these habits each seem very small and almost unimpressive alone. But biology responds to consistency far more powerfully than to intensity. You do not need to do all 5 of these perfectly tomorrow. Start with just one of these upgrades and practice it daily. Make that one habit a natural and comfortable part of your routine. Then slowly and patiently add the next upgrade when you feel ready. The goal is never to win one single impressive workout session. The goal is creating an environment where your body works smarter daily. An environment where blood sugar is managed naturally and efficiently every day. An environment where stress is lower and sleep becomes deeper and better. An environment where stored fat becomes easier and easier to access regularly. When all of these systems begin working together, belly fat responds differently. It becomes noticeably easier to lose and far less stubborn over time. Sometimes the very smartest strategy is not doing more, but doing better. It is about giving your body consistently better and smarter biological signals. And that powerful transformation can begin with your very next intentional walk.